So, have you seen Skeleton Crew yet?
No, I wanted to, and I was trying to decide if I could watch it with my son or not. Have you?
I have. This is probably
Okay.
the first thing I've watched before you.
Yeah, you're ahead of the
But
curve.
it's it's good. I'm excited about this. It's the first Star Wars show I've been excited about in a long time.
Yeah,
I feel like I've been let down many times, but
yeah.
this one is not it's with kids, but it's probably not a
Not for
kids.
kids. Okay.
Yeah, not for kids, I'd say, maybe 10 and up, depending 13 and up how mature your kid is, what they've seen,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's I
It's
I
set
like it.
in the New Hope era, right? Isn't it
It's
sort of in that
set
wheelhouse?
I think it's 9 years after the
Okay.
fall of the Empire. I think I heard
Okay.
that
Oh.
in
Okay.
something.
That's later than I thought it was. All right.
Yeah, it's a little later. I don't wanna give too much away. You know what it
Yeah.
feels like? It feels very much like a almost like a Goonies style
You had me.
Super
I'm in.
8
I'm
Super
locked
8
in.
feel to it
I
with the
love all those
kids.
things. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. The banter is good. The kids, what the kids say makes sense for who they are. I think whoever
Gotcha.
wrote this really understood how kids communicate.
Oh,
Watching my
that's
kids,
good.
and
Yeah.
so a lot of the dialogue makes sense and it's funny and it's goofy and it's good. It's good.
Okay.
It is like a Space Goonies kind of feel to it. So I'm excited.
Nice. Well, I'm excited too. I hope I like it. I'm proud that our friendship has withstood our differing views on the Acolyte, and I hope that we're on the same page about Skeleton Crew. That's my fervent prayer.
I know we will be. I know
Okay.
you'll love it. There's just no way. You'll have fun.
All right, I'll keep you posted.
All right. Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the TV movies, the cartoons, the comics, and beyond.
Today we are discussing Ewoks number 14, King for a Day. This issue was released on March 31st, 1987. We were wee boys.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time ago.
Once again, I know, very, very long. Once again, written by Dave Manek, illustrated by Warren Kremer. This issue was collected along with the rest of the Ewok and Droids comics in the brand new paperback called The Star Wars Legends Epic Collection, The Original Marvel Years, Droids and Ewok, which just came out November 12th, 2024. So if you don't have this already,
no way.
You can run out and get it. We talked about this last time. Don't be surprised.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This is the same one.
It's the same one.
It's the same one, but I want people to know about this. So this, as we mentioned in our last episode, this is the final issue of Ewoks comics, though it was not planned to be the final issue. A 15th issue was outlined and even solicited to comic book shops. They got notifications. It was like, hey, here's Ewoks 15. It never came to be, and it sounds like it was never actually written. It was just an elevator pitch of a plot. Here is the solicitation that went out for the unmade Ewoks 15. Fleeing from the evil Dulocs, the Ewoks, Wicket and Tebow, discover the lost city of Endor, a place of peace and goodwill, which leads them into more trouble than they imagined. The Hidden City is written by Dave Manek, penciled by Warren Kremer, and inked by John D'Agostino. A star comic. Cover price, $1. Wow. But it was not to be. Endor. Do you think that's like Shakari?
Shakari.
You think it's a similar situation? Is Lawrence Luckinbill going to be there?
I know. Oh, gosh.
I mean, that sounds like a fun issue. It sounds like it would have been a fun issue.
I think so. I want to know what kind of trouble they're going to find in a place of peace and
more
good.
than they ever imagined. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So
more than I can imagine.
We have, once we finish that low-gray Morag rom-com that we're writing, we can also write Ewoks 15 and get it out there into the world.
The Odd Couple or something.
Yeah. Yes.
Married with Children. Morag and Logray with children.
Oh, beautiful. Our featured crew member today is Jacqueline Rocher, who served as the inker on this issue. She worked on a lot of these niche 80s comics, including the short-lived comic book adaptation of The Popples. Do you remember The Popples?
I do remember the Popples.
Yeah, I had like a baseball player Popple. They were like stuffed animals with pouches, and you could like turn them inside out and turn them into like a fuzzy ball.
Completely like, inside out.
Totally inside out. So, yes, it started, as we were talking about with like Shirt Tails and Get Along Gang, started as mascots for American Greetings, and then they were made into a toy line, which was super popular in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then 2 animated series, including a more recent, I think 2015 or so, Netflix had a new Popples series that was out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, 2015?
Yeah, there was a 2015 Popples show. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you got to introduce your girls to it.
Oh my!
Bring Popples back for the new generation.
Now I'm gonna have to buy him then.
Yeah, you have to buy Popples.
Marketing.
That's true. That's true. Yep. Yep. I did love Popples. They were very cool.
They were pretty cool. Yeah.
I loved all those. Do you remember there was like a well, there was My Buddy, which terrified me because of Chucky. You know, it was like the My Buddy doll. But then there was My Pet Monster. Do you remember that?
I don't know.
My Pet Monster. He was like a big stuffed animal. And then there were like the Pillow Pals, where they were like characters that were shaped like pillows that were like stuffed animals and pillows. Anyway, these are the things that happened in the 80s. Those and Teddy Ruxpin's.
So that stuff terrifies me now.
It is. Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh man.
Teddy Ruxpin was creepy in the 80s. You know,
Cabbage Patch Kids. You look at the
Patch
pictures
Kids,
and I'm like,
they're a little
why
eerie.
are they like that?
They're a little eerie. Yeah. Trolls. Do you remember?
Trolls, yeah.
Trolls was later. The Troll dolls, I want to say I was in like junior high, and Troll dolls were the rage. They were everywhere. They were the Funko Pops of their time. Okay.
Totally the
well,
Funko Pops.
I'm older than you, so
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. It's a matter of opinion. It's a matter of opinion.
That's true.
Because I wasn't too old for them.
I don't know. I was like into Star Trek and stuff at that age. I was playing with Legos.
Yeah, I think you predate me on your Star Trek fandom, because it really was Generations that kind of got me on board.
Yeah, it was original series first. You know what? I felt like it was too old for Pokemon too. Do you remember when Pokemon?
Oh, I never. Pokemon. I did miss Pokemon entirely. I was too old for
that. Yeah, I kind of missed out on that.
I loved Pogs.
Pogs. I was way into Pogs.
That was a good time. Big time with the Pogs.
But
that's neither here nor there. We must discuss King for a day. So take it away.
All right, the uber detailed plot of Star Wars Ewoks, number 14, King for a Day. Chief Chirpa announces he and Logray must go to the Spirit Tree for the day to give thanks for their fortune this year. While they're away, a chief will be randomly selected by draw.
Ugh.
Tebow wins the draw and accepts the responsibility, although begrudgingly. What could possibly go wrong in one day? I don't know. You're selecting the leader by draw. What could possibly go wrong?
I haven't recovered from seeing Tebow without his little hat, with his weird little like buzz cut. It's like buzzed on the side and bowl cut on the top. It's like all of a sudden he's Dolph Lundgren. It was insane.
I could not.
That was a nightmare image.
I found myself looking at it.
That was a cursed image for sure.
I know.
I never want to see it again.
Did you have to go to like a frame where he had his hood on and then go back and then go back and back? And
that's exactly what I did.
Why
did
they decide
what I did?
That's what he should look like.
It was awful. It was like 1 minute he's Tebow, the next minute he's Macaulay Culkin. It was terrible.
But it wasn't even smooth shaved. It was like a little prickle.
It wasn't.
Like,
it's like he did it with a piece of glass. It was insane.
So bad. Oh geez, the podcast thumbnail should just be the back of his head.
Yeah, just the back of Tebow's head. Yeah, please look this up. You know what? We'll post it on social media so you can see Tebow's weird buzz cut. You need to see it. Yep.
All right. Nisa gives Tebow some advice to show everyone who is boss before she leaves with Wicket to go do chores. Soon, Tebow happens upon Brador, struggling with his Bordock.
Yes.
Tebow uses the opportunity to show Brador his new advice in action. Showing the Bordock who's in charge, Tebow slaps its behind. This causes the Bordock to charge off, spilling the contents of his cart all over clean laundry and ultimately crashing into a newly built hut. The village Ewoks attempt to run Tebow off, but not before he escapes in a glider. Good riddance. Tebow intends to glide around for the day to stay out of trouble, but his glider is struck by a probe heading straight for the village. An alien ship has landed on Endor, and their probe has discovered Bright Tree Village. They intend to use amulets with stones of obedience to enslave the Ewoks and quickly teleport a representative into the village. Nisa and Wicket are quickly seduced by the stone's beauty and put on the amulets immediately, obeying the order to distribute more to the village. Tebow returns to the village and finds it deserted. He couldn't have been that bad. He spots the probe from earlier and follows it to the Crystal Valley. There he finds his whole village enslaved. He overhears that they will be taken away off-world. Tebow is discovered by that pesky probe, and the aliens send Wicket to track him down. In his clumsiness, Tebow discovers a way to subdue Wicket. Using his hat as a decoy, he drops a melon on Wicket's head, knocking him out while he inspects Tebow's hat. Yeah, I did leave out the horrible haircut. This is why Tebow wears a hat.
Yeah.
It must be genetic or so. He must have been born with it or something.
I guess so. Yeah.
With their whole tribe at risk of being taken off world, Tebow quickly devises a plan to rescue everyone. They head back to the alien ship. The moment the alien leader's back is turned, Wicket obeys Tebow's order to place his amulet on the alien leader. He is successful, and they order the leader to set his people free and leave the planet. They immediately do, and now Tebow has saved the day. Back at the village, Chirpa and Logray arrive and are a bit taken aback by the joyous cheers for Tebow. Logray tells Chirpa he's lucky they weren't gone for 2 days because you may have been out of a job. Roll credits.
Look, I know this is our last Ewoks comic, but I think we have to break with tradition and just start with the Oak of Ark because I don't think we can have a conversation about it without just spoiling the Oak of Ark. So, Steve, what is your Oak of Ark?
I was gonna do the hair, but like I thought it was too obvious that it was just so I could not. Maybe that should have been my unforgivable because you see in the notes here, I wrote there's a picky thing and there's an unforgivable thing. So my picky, because I'm always nitpicky.
We know
is they talk about that the amulets work because they answer orders from the one who gave it to them. And if you notice, Wicket was ordered by Tebow to take when we get in there, take your amulet off and put it on the leader, which he does. But then the leader answers the order from Tebow, not Wicket. And I was like, but Wicket put it on him. That was a mistake. And
that is picky.
And I thought, wait a minute, am I just thinking that? And I went back and no, he says like it works because of the one who put it on them. And I was like, that was very specific. And then they screwed up. I felt like that was something worthy of being picky about. When they could have just, I don't know, had Wicket tell him what to do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It was like, you know, so.
I guess they wanted to give Tebow the win, probably.
It was like, they should have just said, oh, if you're wearing it, you do what anyone says.
Yeah.
Rather than like the one who puts it on you do what they say.
Yeah.
So like, to me, I was just like, that could have just been easily avoided.
Yeah. That's true.
But
that's not the one I think. Yeah, hit me with the unforgivable.
The unforgivable. So the leader by raffle.
Yes,
really?
That's mine.
Like,
that's mine.
It's like, holy crap! So I mean, where was Kazakh going?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Like, Chirpa's gone, Logray's gone. Clearly, I am the head of the elders.
Right.
I should be next.
Yeah.
And you're gonna raffle it away.
Yeah. I mean, there's like two things that are wrong with this. I mean, first of all, they're having a raffle of who's going to be the leader, and they put children's names in there too. I mean, that's insane.
People who didn't even know, like Tebow, didn't even know his name was in there.
Didn't even know. And the other thing is that we already had a whole issue about the Ewoks coming to terms with the fact that Nisa is going to be the new leader someday.
Totally.
I think it was Kazakh who was like, no, it can't be her. She's a girl, you know. We've already established that, like, Nisa is the next in line. So if we were going to do that at all, it's just like, why?
I agree. Like, it should have just been Nisa.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to hand it to you because eventually one day you'll do it.
Yeah.
Which kind of would have tracked with that whole issue that we read then. But, like...
Yeah. But the thing is, the chief for the day thing is really not relevant. Like, Tebow could have messed up Brador's, like, melon cart and ran away regardless, and everything would have played out exactly as it was. Like, there's really no
Yeah.
reason to make Tebow king for the day, chief for the day, to get the story that they want to tell, because it's really inconsequential. The only thing you need is him to
Yeah.
run away and be separated from the rest of the village, you know? So you don't even
Yeah.
have to put yourself in that position.
It could have been Kazakh, and then he's like, Tebow, get out of here, you know, get away for a little bit. And then he gets
Yeah.
away, and that's when everything happens.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, you know, there's a great way of like kind of reining Kazakh back in as like
Yeah.
somebody that they, you know what, you're not that bad after all, you know, like they could have just been something like that. Like, oh, you're always causing trouble. Get out of here. And then at the end, he
Yeah.
saves them, and he's like, you know what, you're not so bad after all.
Yeah.
That I feel like is a typical Ewok issue,
Yeah.
where there is that like begrudging or like that disgruntled person that doesn't like them, and then by the end they do like them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this one was like this one went off the rails quick with like,
It did.
all right,
So
who's
much
going to be
was
leader?
going on.
Let's
So
pick it
much
out
was
of a
going
hat.
on. Yeah. All right. Well, now that we have that out of the way, we can talk about the rest of it. And we've already kind of danced around my Ichiwawa moment, and that would be that there were so many Ewoks in the village. And like
Yeah.
for the last several issues, we've been talking about how it's like a ghost town. You see no one. But you see so
Yeah.
many people, and they're all like elaborately colored. They all look so different. We get a new named Ewok, Brador. You know, so I just, you know, I was really happy to see the village being full again, and it makes sense for the kind of story that it was. So that was my Ichiwawa moment. What about you?
Same. I mean, I like the new anytime a new Ewok comes
Yeah, it
along,
is
that's
fun.
like, yes, you know,
Yep.
especially named
Yeah,
Brador. He was like in mine, he was blue.
yeah,
So,
he is
which
blue.
is interesting. I'm sure he's not blue, but that's like,
Yep.
you know, the way they drew him in.
He's
But,
Max Rebo's biological father.
he's so blue.
Yep,
But yeah, like I don't know. You're right. There were a lot of Ewoks, and it's
it
like
was full.
if they did it with this, I feel like there could have been so many episodes or issues where they don't even leave the village for things to happen. Right? You don't need to like go across the floating tree forest and to get to the tree to, you know, get a driplet of water from it or the planet, you know, like weird things like that where it's like, look, there could just be a problem in the village. People are falling asleep and you're trying to figure out why, and it's like a flower.
Yep.
And you save the day. You know, like
That would
something
be-
like that. And it's
that
like
would be
so
just
simple.
fine.
So I like that. My other Ichiwawa was the engineered teleportation. So apparently that's in, you know, like transport. So it's not magic, right? Like
Yeah.
that. So they did it not by magic, like poof, I'm a wizard. It was like beam me there or teleport me, and he
Like in
just
Star
teleported.
so it is Shakari, probably. That's where they were taking him to in the
yeah.
next episode. Excuse me.
Oh no, excuse me, yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, we're bearing the lead here because there was a glider, and you know how I feel about Ewoks and gliders.
Yeah.
So I was excited about the glider. You know, even though this wasn't intended to be a finale, and it doesn't really play like a finale, I did find some parallels to the final episode of the cartoon. Because remember in the final episode of the cartoon, the Empire shows up, and it's like them fighting this, you know, the big Empire and the ships and everything.
Yeah.
And I sort of felt like, even though this wasn't the Empire, it was kind of cool to have this outside, like, humanoid force coming in, and they have to tangle with them. I like that they use their ingenuity, and even though there's a discrepancy about who should be in control of the guy, I like that they defeated them by turning the trap against the bad guys. I thought that was cool.
That's clever.
Yeah. I wonder why cancel this. I mean, I guess at this point we're, you know, a year or so out from the shows all being over and everything, but I wonder if it was just like, I guess it's always financial, so maybe the sales were just bad for it or something, but like,
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
1987, right?
It's just a nice, pleasant little thing.
When was the holiday special?
Holiday specials right after A New Hope. It
was right
holiday
after New
special is
Hope.
like
Oh, okay,
technically the first Star Wars sequel. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So it was after New Hope. Yeah, okay.
yeah,
But this is 1987, so Return of the Jedi was 1983. So it's 3 years, right? I mean, I guess
yeah. 3, 4
think
years.
of a movie, like think of any movie, like 3 years later, you're kind of not
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like now they're a little bit more clever at kind of milking an IP or at least
Yeah.
a storyline, just because they're just better at threading things. There's just more content, right? You can kind of pull more stuff in.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a miracle that it continued past the animated series
Yeah.
at all, but I mean, there
Yeah.
was like Ewoks on Ice, there were like games and lots of merch and stuff, so I think it had its day of
Okay.
popularity, and then I don't know, I guess just kind of fizzled out
Less
eventually.
marketing back then. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And to be fair, I mean, if you didn't watch the show, it's not like this would appeal to the average Star Wars fan.
True. I wonder if there's like other TV shows that came out that were maybe just more popular at the time.
I don't know. I mean, the 80s, by the late 80s, I feel like the things that were the contemporaries of this that we've talked about before, Smurfs, Snorks,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, were kind of in the decline.
DuckTales.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, but things like DuckTales and stuff kind of popping up and being a new, more sophisticated kind of storytelling, like
Yeah.
DuckTales and the whole Disney Afternoon stuff. I mean, those Darkwing Duck,
Darkwing
Tailspin,
Duck. Yeah.
those were more developed kind of shows, and this is really a relatively simple throwback, almost Hanna-Barbera-esque kind of show. So, I guess it just had
Yeah.
its day, and that was it.
Yeah.
I did enjoy this overall. I mean, I liked seeing the different things that happened. I think it's a solid. It's not like, oh, what a stinker to go out on. You know what I mean? It
Yeah, I didn't think
feels,
it was a stinker. This one for me was mid. Like you don't
yeah.
want to, you could easily get better than it, but like I didn't think it was necessarily bad. I think it was a net positive overall.
No, and I think, I mean, the Droid comic certainly didn't end with any kind of finale. It just transitioned into
Yeah.
a retelling of the Star Wars show. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have liked to have had some little bit of a tag that was kind of like, and they lived happily ever after, But
Yeah.
obviously they didn't know it was ending because 15 was already being marketed. So I don't know. Going out, how many yub nubs do you give this one?
I don't know. I'd say this is like a 3.5, 3.75.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I had fun. There's I could pick apart some of the stuff, like, but like it didn't really take away from it. And I feel like, yeah, it could have just been written slightly different. There wasn't like a thing in there where I was like, wow, this is not plausible or anything,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still was entertained. I thought it was fun. Like
Yeah.
the amulets and Tebow getting there was like
Yeah.
the probe. The probe reminded me of like those little probes from Phantom Menace, Darth Maul's
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
probes. So I immediately was like, whoa, that's similar. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't amazing. It was good. I was never like, oh no, let me check to see how many pages this
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Like we've done with the shows. Like, how many more minutes do I have? Oh boy,
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I think I could be a little bit more generous and give it a 4-star. I mean,
Okay.
I think if you take out the whole, we're gonna draw the Chief's name from a hat. I think I would have liked it a lot better. So, I think it moves nicely, and I'll say 4. I'll say 4.
4. Good.
I am sad. I mean, the only thing we really have that's kind of in this world anymore is there was a little series of short comics called My Comic that I think maybe was from like Spain or something, with droids and Ewoks. But this is really kind of the final say in that era of Star Wars. And so, it's been varying in quality, but I have thoroughly enjoyed going through it all as well. Like even when they suck, it's still kind of like, oh, you wacky Ewoks.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's still similar to the show, right? Because I feel like the show
yeah.
sometimes we were just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
episode was so bad.
Yeah.
But then there's episodes where we were like, holy crap, like I genuinely really, right? I feel like I remember myself saying so many
Yeah.
times, I wish they had made this
Yeah.
an episode of the show because this
Yeah.
was a good story,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, it is so funny how much they vary, even by the same writers, right? We've
Yeah.
had David Manek for like so long,
Yeah.
and sometimes we're like, dude, what are you doing?
Yep.
Why did you even
Yep.
do this?
Yep.
That must have been like a weekend, like, a napkin idea, that he thought of in the diner, and then like created it because he's like, whew, I needed something for Monday, and it's like Sunday afternoon or something like that.
Yeah.
But then other times it's like, wow, this was like a carefully crafted story that just that hit.
Yeah.
So funny.
Honestly, I think they probably didn't hold up to the kind of scrutiny that we've put them under. But I think if I just
True.
plopped this in my son's hand and was like, read these Ewoks comics, I think he'd like them and have a good time. And, you know, I think, I enjoyed, before we did this podcast and we both had that Dark Horse omnibus, I read through it and had a good time with it. It's just like a simple, fun,
It's fun. The kids
positive
love it too,
kind of thing.
I find it not on my shelf sometimes, and it's like
Oh, really? That's
stuck
fun.
under like 6 or 7 books in one of my daughter's beds, and so it's like, that's
Yep.
she likes to pull it off the shelf. She leaves the Jedi one up there, Tales of the Jedi.
Okay. But
The
Ewoks,
Yeah, the Ewoks one she likes.
she
Ewoks
can't
droid.
resist. Okay.
But like, it's funny too because I feel like maybe at the time, 87, this was it. Like
Yeah.
Star Wars content was basically just the cartoon shows, the movies, the cartoon shows, and the comics, and that was it.
The novels, I
I'm
think,
sure
had to take
the novels. That's true. Oh yeah, that's true. 87 though, were they really? When did Timothy Zahn write his series?
That was a little later, but
early-
Splinter of the Mind's Eye was right there from the beginning, and the
Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
novelizations
Oh,
were pretty
okay,
popular.
yeah.
And
That's true.
at this point, it's probably limited to like the Han Solo adventures by Brian Daley and the Lando Calrissian adventures. I mean, those are like the earliest kind of stuff.
late,
the real
late
simple.
80s.
Yeah, because I mean the Marvel Star Wars comic series ran from 77 to 1986, so it was over by this point as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is kind of the last torchbearer.
Maybe they saw like the generation of kids growing, and they were like, we gotta let go of
pack
the
it in.
Ewoks, and we gotta start doing the Star Wars comic.
Yep.
So it's interesting. I mean, I'd love to go back in a time machine to the room where they decided why they stopped it, because that would be interesting to see why. Like, what's the reason behind it, and why didn't they just wrap it up? 2 more issues and just wrap it up,
Yeah, that would have been nice. It would have been nice.
Yeah.
Well, this is an old Star Wars entry from a time when there was no Star Wars. Next time for our Life Day episode, we're going to be talking about a new Star Wars entry when there's more Star Wars than you could ever want. For our Life Day special, we are going to be covering Young Jedi Adventures. So you can watch along with us. There are 2 episodes, one from season 1, one from season 2. And we're going to be talking about both of those with our old friend, Jesse?
I'll say guest. I don't want to say special guest.
Our
because I don't wanna
acquaintance.
give them,
That's right. A regular acquaintance.
guy we know.
Jesse Riles is going to be talking about these with us. So
Some guy each
Yeah.
of us knows, unfortunately.
we all know him. Yep, we
Yeah.
know him. And that's
We wish
that's
we
the
didn't.
extent of the purpose of having him on. So, but I have watched this show with my son. I haven't not watched these Life Day episodes yet, but I'm excited to do it. I like the vibe. I like the look. And so I'll be interested to see what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll see you then.
Okay.
All right. May the force be with you.
Thank you.
You're supposed to say, and also with you.
Oh, and also with you. That's Jesse's joke. Sorry. A week early.
This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 9021 Here We Go, 90s Music Got Me Like, and previously on X-Men. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or X at Endorian Life. And please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcasts.
Boom, bam.